A couple years ago, Lucid really shocked the industry when they introduced a premium all-electric luxury sedan that could truly take on the Tesla Model S. However, sedans aren't really what sells here in America, so the company is finally introducing the brand's first ever SUV. I'm here on the show floor of the 2023 LA Auto Show, and this right here is the all-new Lucid Gravity. Let's take a first look. Now you can see here on the show floor of the 2023 Los Angeles Auto Show, Lucid is getting a lot of attention because we've been waiting for the company to introduce their fully electric SUV, the Gravity. And I have to say, finally seeing this vehicle in person, it takes a lot of the styling cues that we like about the Lucid Air. And again, it just grafts it onto an SUV body. Starting at the front fascia, you can see it has the same kind of corporate front fascia as the Air. It spells out Lucid pretty boldly here in the center. It's got this kind of like mail slot that kind of almost creates, or almost looks like it has an air intake opening. The Lucid badge here is kind of illuminated, which is great. You have an LED light bar that goes across the actual headlights. And then you can see all the Gravities are going to come standard with these full LED headlights with the 4 individual projector LEDs. There's also a separate LED lighting bar here in the lower front area. And then you can see at the front end, there are some active grille shutters along with that Gravity badge there to show everybody that you've got a different model, the SUV version. Now, Lucid really stresses aerodynamics, and that's one of the reasons why this brand is able to get such excellent range numbers. And in terms of the coefficient of drag, Lucid is claiming you have a 0.24 coefficient of drag, which is actually the best in the industry among SUVs. This is literally almost as slippery as the sedan, and that's going to help, of course, with the range figures. Now, obviously, with an SUV, you've got to raise up the roofline of this vehicle, and we're going to try to move along to the side of this vehicle. But Lucid is basically claiming the exterior dimensions of this car should be a little bit less versus an Audi Q7, which means it'll probably be just under 200 inches long. It certainly has some nice proportions to it. It literally looks like an Air that's kind of just been lifted up to give us that additional space on the inside. You have same kind of styling elements here with the door handles that pop out. The roof, as you can see, is a completely glass roof. It has almost like a floating roof design. This helps to improve the aerodynamics of the vehicle. It's got these large rear doors, which we'll talk about the interior in just a moment. And then the wheels, you can see this is the Dream Edition. These are a 22-inch wheel wrapped in a 285 by 35 actually this is a 23-inch wheel. A 22-inch wheel is going to be standard, so you can see great wheel design that really fills out the wheel wells. There's also a 4-corner air suspension, which Lucid said you can actually raise and lower the ground clearance of this vehicle, because remember, it is an SUV. And then over here you can see kind of a cool design where it again reminds you that this is the Gravity. I love the kind of actual stainless steel that they're using here at the D-pillar. And then looking at the rear, you can see the taillight design is pretty similar to the Air. It's got that full LED light bar, which is great. You have this kind of integrated spoiler, which I'm assuming probably helps with the aerodynamics. And then over here, there's a little bit of badging where it shows Gravity and the Dream Edition. I love the name of the vehicle. It certainly looks almost like a long roof wagon, which I love how Lucid was doing that. And you can see down here, you'll find the reverse lights. But overall, I'm not allowed to open this one, but we're going to show you guys the front and the rear cargo capacity, which Lucid claims is one of the best in the class. So you can see we switched over to this model here where Lucid has the frunk open, and it's a pretty large frunk. That's something that I was really impressed about with the Air sedan, and Lucid says you have around 8 cubic feet of total storage space back here. So it's covered, it's illuminated, you can also lock it, obviously. It provides a really good amount of covered storage where you can hide a lot of items when you don't want to put it in the actual inside of the vehicle. But since we're under here, let's go ahead and quickly talk about the powertrain specs. I wish I had more that I could share with you, but Lucid was a little bit tight on details. But essentially, all the Gravities will come standard with dual electric motors. And the battery capacity, Lucid wasn't ready to share the capacity of the battery. I suspect it'll probably be a little over 110 kilowatt hours. That's similar to what the Air sedan has. However, Lucid claims with that coefficient of drag, you should be able to do more than 440 miles on a full charge. 440 miles is significant, especially when you consider the fact that the battery capacity of this model will likely be half the capacity of something like the GMC Hummer SUV, which will have almost a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. I suspect the horsepower should be a little over 1,100 horsepower, because that's what the Dream Edition has for the Air, and the company is claiming this model should be able to do 0 to 60 in under 3.5 seconds. So that's right, we have a family SUV that seats up to 7 people, that can tow up to 6,000 pounds, that will probably weigh around 6,000 pounds itself, and can do 0 to 60 in under 3.5 seconds. So these performance figures are pretty much on par with what I expected from Lucid, and it should be one of the quickest accelerating family SUVs when it goes on sale. Now the Lucid Gravity is an SUV, so as you expect, you demand a little bit more cargo capacity, and this certainly has a lot more versus the Air sedan. Now first of all, I want you to notice something here. The lift over height, or the floor where you load in stuff, is a lot lower than I expected for any SUV. It feels more like a wagon when I'm standing next to this vehicle, because I'm not very tall, I'm 5'7", and it literally comes up to almost my knees. Now this car does have an air suspension, so I suspect you can raise and lower it, but as you can see here, Lucid had some items in here to show just how much space. Now all the seats are folded. Lucid will offer it with either a 5-passenger or a 6 or 7, so there will be a third row. With all the seats folded, including the frunk, Lucid says you have a maximum of 112 cubic feet. That's for the 3-row model. If you guys go for a 2-row version without the third row, you'll have a maximum of 120 cubic feet. Now, keep in mind, that storage capacity includes the 8 cubic feet that you get in the front trunk, but as you can see, you can fit a bike, you can fit a surfboard in here. This is going to be what Lucid is claiming one of the most space-efficient SUVs in the segment, considering the fact that it's also not quite as big as something like a Suburban or a Tahoe. Lucid did a great job, and they can do that because of the compact size of the battery pack and of the electric motors that really allows them to increase the space. Now looking at the interior of the all-new Lucid Gravity, I have to say, compared to the Air, there's a lot of differences, but also similarities. First of all, this interior color. Love this fact that you have this kind of like caramel saddle tan interior with the full premium leather, the bare leather, which again, looks really great with the showpiece, which is, as you can see, this massive, uninterrupted 34-inch curved OLED display. You can see it's a single continuous piece of display. It looks phenomenal. You can see it has this kind of screensaver playing right now, and it has kind of like a background music playing, where it makes you feel like you're out in the woods. It all creates an ambiance, an atmosphere that is befitting of the Lucid Gravity. This screen here has some touch sensitive panels on the left and the right side where you can control a couple of things. However, unlike the Air sedan, which had kind of a portrait style 12.6-inch display, you can see Lucid has rotated the screen to be a landscape style on this center display here, where this is a touchscreen. This is where you're going to control all your main functions of the vehicle. I love the fact that Lucid still has hard buttons here for the temperature, for the fan speed, for the audio controls, and it all kind of flows very nicely into the center stack of this vehicle with the genuine wood trim. The steering wheel itself also, you can see, has an interesting kind of flat bottom and flat top design with touch sensitive controls. Overall, I remember when I spent some time in the Lucid Air, I was impressed with the overall quality. The Gravity, again, kind of takes that to the next level. Above me here, you can see it's got this really unique feature where it's kind of taken from the Tesla Model X and, of course, the Air, where it has the roof that kind of has a continuous piece of glass that continues over your head. It has some ambient lighting over here, this floating look for the sun visors, which again adds to the entire ambiance, and it just looks really, really phenomenal. But let me show you guys the backseat area really quick, so you guys can see. Now this model here does have the third row, but you can see it also has the bench look here, so you can easily fit 3 people across. I don't have the final legroom figures just yet. Unfortunately, Lucid asked me not to sit in this model just yet because it's a very fragile and early prototype. You can see if you zoom the camera over there, this one does have the third row, so this model here can seat up to 7 people because it has the bench over here. But overall, this is exactly the type of vehicle that Lucid has needed, because it's going to give American families the space and the efficiency that they're looking for in their all-electric SUV. So as you can see, there's a lot of people crowding the Lucid Gravity display, and with good reason, because this all-new fully electric family SUV has a ton of technology, a ton of power, a ton of range, and a ton of sophistication that really is going to show people that Lucid is here to stay. They really mean business. They started off with an excellent Air luxury sedan, and of course they're following it up with the Gravity luxury SUV. Now if you're looking to get your hands on the all-new Gravity, you're going to have to wait until the early part of next year, and Lucid basically said the starting price for the base Gravity with the dual motor all-wheel drive is going to be at just under $80,000. That's actually a pretty fair starting price considering what Lucid gives you here. Remember, up to over 440 miles of range, standard all-wheel drive, likely over 1,000 horsepower, and all that amazing tech on the inside. Now, I suspect the Dream Edition, that model over there, is probably going to be well into the 6-figure mark, which, as it should, considering all the technology it has. But I look forward to spending some time driving this vehicle. If you guys are looking to actually get your hands on one, be sure you're going to have to wait again until the early part of next year. For Redline Reviews here at the 2023 Los Angeles International Auto Show, I'm Sofyan Bey.